Well, let's talk for a moment about travel. What sort of travel? Do you travel rough, in unexplored countries?
Yes.
Or...
Oh, no, not so much that. I love France.
Yes.
I find it very relaxing, and I relax there better than anywhere, I think.
Why?
Well, partly because of the licensing laws, I think, but halfway, really. You can, shall we say, you go to Paris. People say, you go to Paris. Why do you go to Paris to rest? Well, I do rest there, because you can go to sleep 6 hours in the afternoon, you can get up and go out all night if you want to.
And, of course, you're not known.
No, not at all.
Have you ever, in fact, performed in Paris?
Never.
No. Would you like to?
Very much.
How good is your French?
Pretty bad.
Could you do a show in French?
No, not really. One could do a sort of a, you know, the Lido thing, something like that, where you talk half in French, little bits and pieces, and but not truly, no. But I hope to learn French enough to be able to do that.
Well, let's go on about your life. What sort of relaxations and hobbies? Now, for instance, you spoke a moment ago about reading.
Yes.
You read a lot?
Yes, I do now.
What sort of stuff?
I read history, philosophy, and all the things that come off it, naturally.
Now, I wonder, is this a recognition that perhaps earlier in your life you didn't do all this reading? You were trying to catch up?
Oh, yes, indeed. it seemed as if for the first 30 years, my eyes were closed, and then I became interested and found a real thirst for knowledge. And now, fortunately, have the opportunity to put right this lack of education.
Can you give me is there any memory in your mind of a turning point about this? Do you remember something which happened which suddenly opened your eyes? Or a person even? I
think it's a very simple example, I suppose. I read the Wells outline of history, of simple maybe, that it put the thing into perspective. It puts you into an entirely different position, if you understand, viewing your own sort of ego and personality in terms of this vast time. And that's really started me reading many other things.
And you've gone much more deeply into it since then. Is Wells still a hero?
Oh, indeed. I think it was a tremendous attempt to cover such an enormous thing in one volume, which he seems to do very, very well.
Do you read the psychologists at all?
Yes, I do, but only sort of outlines at the moment, because I need to read introductions. No, I can't start like that.
But this is a real notion in your life that you'd like to read more and you'd like to go further into these things.
Oh, I must. As I say, I'm entirely interested in comedy. This is so much part of it. It is the sort of raw material. It is absolutely necessary.
Now, turning to the rather lighter side of reading, just tell me by name, what daily newspapers do you read?
Practically all, I'd say. I think it's absolutely necessary.
Yes.
As I also think it's necessary to watch nearly all television, for instance.
Good Lord.
I mean, yes, I know, it's hard to bear, isn't it? No, I think it is because you otherwise, shall we say, if you want to see something that needs burlesquing, or you want something that you want to have a go at, maybe, then you have to see it all.
Do you read the criticisms about yourself?
Reluctantly, yes.
Do they hurt?
Yes, they do, actually. I try and eliminate that, but it's not possible.
Do you find that the newspaper critics are to be taken seriously? Do you really think about the points they make?
Well, as a matter of fact, I think you think about the point that anybody makes. I mean, it would be nice to say you were beyond that, maybe, but you never are.
You've got an awful lot of money now. We won't argue about how much. What do you spend it on? Motor cars?
Yes, up to a point. My wife actually drives. She is the enthusiastic driver. I gave it up some time ago.
Why?
I wasn't any good at it.
Was that proved to you by physically, or...?
It was physically, yes.
In circumstances which brought you to court, or not?
No, actually, it was... there was an accident, and that was the end. But actually, I never had any idea of it, really.
Do you spend money... I know it's difficult to answer this question, but try. Do you spend money extravagantly or not?
I suppose so. Sometimes, yes. It depends. It depends what sort of relaxation you need to find, but always it's with an end in view.
What are your extravagancies?
Well, I like staying in big hotels in a suite occasionally for a couple of days. That sort of thing, or to travel, or to travel in considerable luxury, maybe. That's about all.
Do you have, for instance, you live in the country, whereabouts in the country now?
Lingfield.
Lingfield. Do you have a lot of friends in that neighbourhood?
Not really. We haven't been there very long, but we bring friends down to the house. One of the most interesting things, the best things about the house is a valuable thing to me, because it means that we can talk down there. I can have people down there, and I find that the biggest relaxation I can have is to talk with people that I like, people probably about this business, maybe all the things that come off it, And we talk and talk, you know, long and into the morning. And it's a relaxation. Also, ideas spring from that.
Are these showbiz friends or friends who've been with you all your life?
Well, yes, they are. To a certain extent, you say they're show business people, but most of the show business people I know are not sheerly interested in that. They are particularly interested in, well, there are so many things that come off it. Perhaps we talk about the show for about 10% of the time.
Yes. Now, very intimately, you say talking far into the night. Do you, as a matter of fact, sleep well when you go to bed?
No.
Do you take sleeping pills?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you sleep, do you think?
Well, I think that in these days of the challenge of this particular medium, anyway, your mind works high, quick. You are permanently on an edge, a good one, I think, and therefore it is difficult to relax while a thing is on, while a show is on. But no, generally not particularly well.
It's said about you that you worry a lot about your weight. Is that true?
Mm. Well, I've got it more or less sorted out now. Well, within reason. If I can, you know, I was about 2.5 stone heavier than this at one time. Do
you follow stringent diets and all the rest of it to keep your weight down?
Shall we say, for a time I do, and then after a show is over, after a series is over, for instance, I do anything or whatever I want, and then I pull right down.
Why do you worry so much? A funny man can be fat perfectly well without...
I think it makes you sluggish, generally. Your mind is sluggish, and I think it's a bad thing, really.
You haven't got any children, have you?
No.
Would you like to have?
No.
Why not, I wonder?
I don't know. I think that... I don't know, really.
Do you have anything against children flipping kids?
No, nothing at all. No.
Flipping kids doesn't represent any antipathy to children?
No, not at all, not at all. No, I love other people's children.
Did you have on the whole, a happy childhood yourself? Do you look back on it with pleasure?
I think perhaps the earlier part, yes.
Your father, one reads about you, was a pub keeper. Now, I don't know what that means. Was it a little working-class pub, or was it a posh hotel, or what?
Well, actually, he was rather like me in a way. He had a lot of moods. He did all sorts of things. He was a laundry owner, a pub keeper, a hotel keeper, a boxing referee, all sorts. Also a semi-pro comedian.
But pretty well off, I should think, from what you've just said.
Oh, no, he fluctuated a great deal.
Ah, you were, I see. You were up now. Do you reckon that you were in Birmingham, were you?
No, they left Birmingham when I was 3 years old. We left Birmingham for his health. He went to live in Bournemouth.
In Bournemouth.
Yes.
Now, would you say you were middle class or working class?
I said sort of lower middle, I should think.
Lower middle, yes. Do you remember that with pleasure? Did you like the life in a hotel, for instance?
No, it's a bit impersonal, really. They were much too busy to really spend a great deal of time with us. And actually, anyway, he died when I was about 11 years old, so I didn't see all that much of him.
No. You say with us, you're not an only child.
No. There were three. My elder brother was killed during the war. I have another brother, younger brother.
Yes. You were given, perhaps I can say this, slightly unexpected names, Anthony, Aloysius, St. John. Any special family reason for that?
Well, they're not true. They're created by the scriptwriter.
They're entirely created. What is your real name, then?
Anthony John Hancock.
Anthony John Hancock. Did you, in extreme childhood, think well of yourself? Were you sort of independent and brash, or were you an introverted little boy?
No, I was pretty much an extrovert till about the age of about 14, I think, and then it sort of packed up.
Do you know why?
I've no idea.
What clear memories do you have of your mother?
Oh, well,
at that age, I know she's still alive, but in your childhood?
Oh, one of deep affection. What do you mean, what?
Yes, I wonder if you've got any early and vivid memory that's stuck in your mind through the years.
Not really. The memory of best of it really is the encouragement she gave me to do what I wanted to do, though I showed no sign at all of being able to do it initially.
And yet this was really following your father?
Yes, I think in many ways it was a deep thing with me to try and justify, because I believe he was pretty good.